Chapter 13. And Abram went up out of Egypt with his wife and all he had, and Lot with him, and they came into the south. Now Abram had great wealth of cattle and silver and gold. And traveling on from the south, he came to Bethel, to the place where his tent had been before, between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he had made his first altar, and there Abram gave worship to the name of the Lord. And Lot, who went with him, had flocks and herds and tents, so that the land was not wide enough for the two of them. Their property was so great that there was not room for them together. And there was an argument between the keepers of Abram's cattle and the keepers of Lot's cattle. At that time the Canaanites and Perizzites were still living in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, "Let there be no argument between me and you, and between my herdmen and your herdmen, for we are brothers. Is not all the land before you? Then let us go our separate ways. If you go to the left, I will go to the right, or if you take the right, I will go to the left." And Lot, lifting up his eyes and looking in the valley of Jordan, saw that it was well watered everywhere. Before the Lord had sent destruction on Sodom and Gomorrah, it was like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, on the way to Zoar. So Lot took for himself all the valley of Jordan, and went to the east, and they were parted from one another. Abram went on living in the land of Canaan, and Lot went to the lowland towns, moving his tent as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were evil, and great sinners before the Lord. And the Lord had said to Abram, after Lot was parted from him, "From this place where you are take a look to the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, for all the land which you see I will give to you and to your seed forever. And I will make your children like the dust of the earth, so that if the dust of the earth may be numbered, then will your children be numbered. Come, go through all the land from one end to the other, for I will give it to you." And Abram, moving his tent, came and made his living place by the holy tree of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and made an altar there to the Lord. Chapter 14. Now in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elazar, Gedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim, they made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. All these came together in the valley of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. For 12 years they were under the rule of Gedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they put off his control. And in the 14th year, Gedorlaomer and the kings who were on his side, overcame the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Amim in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their mountain Seir, driving them as far as El Paran, which is near the wasteland. Then they came back to En Mishpat, which is Kadesh, making waste all the country of the Amalekites and of the Amorites living in Hazazon Tamar. And the king of Sodom with the king of Gomorrah and the king of Admah and the king of Zeboim and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, went out, and put their forces in position in the valley of Siddim, against Gedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elazar, 4 kings against the 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of holes of sticky earth, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah were put to flight and came to their end there, but the rest got away to the mountain. And the 4 kings took all the goods and food from Sodom and Gomorrah and went on their way. And in addition they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who was living in Sodom, and all his goods. And one who had got away from the fight came and gave word of it to Abram the Hebrew, who was living by the holy tree of Mamre, the Amorite, the brother of Eshcol and Aner, who were friends of Abram. And Abram, hearing that his brother's son had been made a prisoner, took a band of his trained men, 318 of them, sons of his house, and went after them as far as Dan. And separating his forces by night, he overcame them, putting them to flight and going after them as far as Hobah, which is on the north side of Damascus. And he got back all the goods, and Lot, his brother's son, with his goods and the women and the people. And when he was coming back after putting to flight Gedorlaomer and the other kings, he had a meeting with the king of Sodom in the valley of Shaveh, that is, the king's valley. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, the priest of the Most High God, took bread and wine, and blessing him, said, "May the blessing of the Most High God, maker of heaven and earth, be on Abram, and let the Most High God be praised, who has given into your hands those who are against you. Then Abram gave him a tenth of all the goods he had taken, and the king of Sodom said to Abram, "Give me the prisoners and take the goods for yourself." But Abram said to the king of Sodom, "I have taken an oath to the Lord, the Most High God, maker of heaven and earth, that I will not take so much as a thread or the cord of a shoe of yours, so that you may not say, I have given wealth to Abram. Give me nothing but the food which the fighting men who went with me have had. But let Aner and Eshcol and Mamre have their part of the goods." Chapter 15. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Have no fear, Abram, I will keep you safe, and great will be your reward." And Abram said, "What will you give me? For I have no child, and this Eliezer of Damascus will have all my wealth after me." And Abram said, "You have given me no child, and a servant in my house will get the heritage." Then said the Lord, "This man will not get the heritage, but a son of your body will have your property after you." And he took him out into the open air, and said to him, "Let your eyes be lifted to heaven, and see if the stars may be numbered, even so will your seed be." And he had faith in the Lord, and it was put to his account as righteousness. And he said to him, "I am the Lord, who took you from Ur of the Chaldees, to give you this land for your heritage." And he said, "O Lord God, how may I be certain that it will be mine?" And he said, "Take a young cow of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a sheep of 3 years old, and a dove and a young pigeon." All these he took, cutting them in two and putting one half opposite the other, but not cutting the birds in two. And evil birds came down on the bodies, but Abram sent them away. Now when the sun was going down, a deep sleep came on Abram, and a dark cloud of fear. And he said to Abram, "Truly, your seed will be living in a land which is not theirs, as servants to a people who will be cruel to them for 400 years, but I will be the judge of that nation whose servants they are, and they will come out from among them with great wealth. As for you, you will go to your fathers in peace, at the end of a long life you will be put in your last resting place. And in the 4th generation they will come back here, for at present the sin of the Amorite is not full." Then when the sun went down and it was dark, he saw a smoking fire and a flaming light which went between the parts of the bodies. In that day the Lord made an agreement with Abram, and said, "To your seed have I given this land from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenite, the Kenzite, and the Cadmonite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Rephaim, and the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Girgashite, and the Jebusite,